So, good evening, members, and welcome to this meeting of Plans West Subcommittee. Before we start, I remind everyone that speaking that you need to activate your microphone before speaking. And I would also like to remind everyone present that this meeting will be broadcast live to the internet or filmed and will be capable of repeated viewing or another use by such third parties. If you are seated in the lower public seating area, it's likely that the recording cameras will capture your image, and this will result in the possibility that your image will become part of the broadcast. This may infringe your human and data protection rights, and if you wish to avoid this, you should move to the upper public gallery. Introduce you to my left is Planning Officer Graham Courtney, and to his left is the Democratic Services Officer Laura Kerman. And over to my right are the people that are doing magical things with cameras and sound systems. Advice to public speakers, to the public and speakers attending, it's on pages 5 to 8 of their agenda, and they will be strictly limited to 3 minutes. Apologies for absence.
Apologies for absence have been received by Councillor Knight and Councillor Plummer.
Thank you. Minutes. Can we confirm the minutes of the last meeting held on the 7th of April? Thank you. Declarations of interest. I personally have an interest to declare, which is as a non-pecuniary interest as a member of the Lee Valley Regional Park Authority. Councillor Sartin.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, the same non-pecuniary Lee Valley Regional Park Authority.
Right, is there any other business?
There's no other business, Chair.
Thank you. Right, item 7, Epping Forest District Local Plan is for noting. Okay. Site visits, item 8. Site visits will be coming back into being in a physical sense next month. So if anyone does request a site visit on any applications in front of us tonight, that application and the visit will have to be deferred until September. Councillor Bassett.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I understand that the application's got to be deferred anyway, but the one for Ava House, I would like a site visit for members, and I believe the applicant's quite willing to do this.
Thank you. That has to obviously be arranged then for sometime next month. Right, so that brings us on then to item 9, which is the planning application EPF 122321, which is Ava House, Nursery Road, Nazing, EN9 2JE, which is pages 19 to 28 of your agenda.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm not going to put any presentation up on the screen. As very, very briefly touched on there by Councillor Bassett, this application is actually being put forward for deferral to a future meeting. Unfortunately, it came to light just this afternoon that the application, that there was no consultation undertaken with the Lee Valley Regional Park Authority, who are a statutory consultee for an application such as this, which is located within the Lee Valley Regional Park. As such, we legally cannot make any decision on this application at the current time. Therefore, we are seeking to defer this item for a future meeting, which would actually enable the site visit to take place as well as put forward by Councillor Bassett.
Thank you. Members, are we all in agreement with that? Okay. Right, so item 10, which is application EPF 150121, which is the field station located Gunpowder Park, Silverstone Road, Waltham Abbey, EN9 3GP, on pages 29 to 34. Mr. Courtney.
Thank you, Chairman. Apologies, I've still got item 9 up. Let me just skip forward. There we go. Right, so this application relates to the erection of a canopy at the field station at the Gunpowder Park. The application is recommended for approval subject to conditions and is in front of members tonight due to an objection from the Town Council, along with some neighbouring residents. The application site is situated, as I said, within the field station, which is at the main entrance to the Gunpowder Park. Just apologies, slightly easier to highlight. So just here. It's currently being used by AbFab Fit Club, which is a ladies' gym and fitness club, which offers training and coaching to its members. The site is situated within the Greenbelt and the Lee Valley Regional Park. Luckily, the Lee Valley Regional Park Authority were consulted on this application. So consent was granted in 2019 for the change of use of this building to a fitness club. This is subject to a condition restricting operating hours to 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. till 12 noon on Saturdays, and 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Sundays and bank holidays. The hours of operation in the submitted application form actually do differ slightly to the existing. Primarily less hours are being shown. However, it does actually suggest some slightly earlier hours on the Sundays and bank holidays. Therefore, for the avoidance of doubt, it is considered that the previous operating hours should be repeated on this decision, which I therefore put forward as an additional suggested condition. So it would be a repeat of the operating hours as per the original 2019, as I've just read out. The existing site has an area of outdoor space that is currently used for exercising and classes, especially during the recent pandemic. Some photographic evidence has been provided to show the area in use, and reference has been made by the neighbours' comments to this. So this proposal is to erect a semi-permanent canopy measuring 7.5 metres in depth and 11 metres in width that would allow for the use of this outdoor area despite the elements. The proposal was actually reduced in size during the life of the application at the request of the Lee Valley Regional Park Authority. It was previously 14 metres in width, I believe. The proposed structure is, as I say, it's semi-permanent. I don't believe there's any intention to remove it, but it is easily removable since it is essentially bolted to the floor. And it supports the existing use of the site and enables outdoor recreation. As such, there are no concerns regarding its impact on the Greenbelt. The proposed materials are considered to be acceptable, and there are no visual concerns with the proposal. So I'm just going to go back to this as it shows the relationship with the neighbours, because the main concerns from both the Town Council and the surrounding neighbours are with regards to noise nuisance and the potential increase in antisocial behaviour outside of the operating hours of the club. It's accepted that the proposed canopy would allow for some more intensive use of the site, since it would protect members from the elements, but the site is nonetheless already used for outdoor fitness and classes. The site is situated some 60 metres from the closest neighbours, which are up here, and it is subject to restricted operating hours, as previously mentioned. Whilst I do sympathise with any neighbours that may suffer at present, particularly from any, I think there's some alleged use of microphone headsets. This isn't something currently restricted on the site. Any statutory nuisance caused should obviously be reported and dealt with by Environmental Services. Similarly, whilst I understand the Town Council's concerns about potential for antisocial behaviour on the site, this is not a planning matter. Instead, this would be something dealt with by either the police or the park wardens. Since the proposed canopy would simply allow for better use to be made of the existing outdoor area and would not in itself result in any harm to the Greenbelt, the character of the area or the amenities of neighbouring residents, the application is recommended for approval subject to conditions, including, as I say, the addition of the operating hours as previously stated on the 2019 approval. Back to you, Chairman.
Thank you. We do have a speaker on this. It's the applicant, Jane Alderson. Are you with us? Can you?
Yep, I'm here.
Can hear. Right, just remind you that you've got 3 minutes to put forward your application for our consideration. So over to you, thank you.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Jane Alderson and I'm the founder and owner of AbFab Fit Club, a ladies only health and wellbeing facility. We're proposing to erect a semi-permanent canopy to make it more comfortable for our members to exercise safely with us. We've been established for nearly 4 years and employ 14 full and part-time staff over 2 local facilities. We grew very quickly, establishing a great reputation in a short space of time. After lockdown in July 2020, we opened under strict social distancing and cleaning conditions. Our facility was always going to be a mixture of indoor and outdoor training, but we have had some difficulties with training in the hot sun and torrential rain. A cover would benefit us and the surrounding community sharing the space. We are aware of a few objections to the canopy from our closest neighbours on the grounds of noise. We've always wanted to be nothing but good for the community, and since being made aware of the occasional sound drift, we have changed the way we operate to be more discreet. We believe the canopy would only act to dampen sound, not project it. Our presence on the site has brought the field station to life, and we keep the area clean and looked after rather than closed and empty as it had been previously. We are aware of an objection regarding the choice of materials and how they fit in with the character of the park, and we've investigated many alternatives. Our proposal is of a curved design, similar to the shape of the building and easily decommissioned. We don't perceive any negative impact to park users or neighbours alike. It only benefits them and park run volunteers as a place of retreat in inclement weather. We feel that the amended canopy width from 14 to 11 will alleviate the Lee Valley Regional Park Authority's concern regarding the green living wall, making it more open, and additionally the canopy will not carry any illumination. With regard to the Town Council's concern regarding risks of antisocial behaviour, we live within 15 minutes drive to our facility and can address any occurrences quickly, alerted by motion sensor cameras that are fitted within our shutters. This kind of problem would definitely be to the detriment of our business in many ways, so we would do everything necessary to ensure the facility is safe, secure and nuisance free. Our community is one of the most important aspects of our club. The ladies help each other to stay focused and make long-term lifestyle changes. We are changing ladies' lives enormously, and the more we can reach, the better, for the benefit of everyone, as per the government guidelines to eat well and move more. This is exactly what we instill into our ladies in a way that can be embedded for life, varied and above all fun exercise and no faddy diets. I hope that I've addressed any concerns that the committee has and that you are able to look favourably on our proposition as a benefit to the whole community. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Members, Councillor Kane.
Yes, this is to the planning officer, Chairman. Is it possible to tell me exactly the hours, for the operating hours, because they're new, they're old. Can you please let us know the exact operating hours, please?
Absolutely, not a problem. So the existing condition that's on the site restricts operating hours between 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. Monday to Fridays, 7 a.m. to 12 noon on Saturdays, and 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Sundays and bank holidays.
And one more question, if I may. The canopies will be closed in the evening, will be retreated, or they will stay there?
No, they're not retractable canopies, so they would remain in situ when not in use.
Councillor Sarsen.
Thank you, Chairman. One of the letters of objection that we received by email made reference to amplified music. I just wondered whether it was the case that the music is being amplified, and if that is the case, does it need a licence from the licensing department?
That's a good question, but unfortunately one I'm not sure I can answer. I don't know. I have seen, obviously, the comments that talk about the amplified music. As I say, they're the sort of, what I understand, the kind of amplified headsets. But unfortunately, I don't know enough about licensing myself to say whether that requires a license or not. I don't know whether any members may have a bit more insight into that.
Certainly, when we have applications for restaurants that might have outside areas and things like that, there is quite often a condition added to that at a time at which amplified music should not be on the outside area. But each application is taken as an individual application is seen separately. So it's not a hard and fast rule, I don't think.
I might be totally wrong, but that's actually to do with the Licensing Act of 2003 rather than a planning application? Possibly.
Yes, I'm aware it's not a planning application, but I just raise it around the amplified music issue, that if we're granting permission with amplified music, we might not actually have the right to do so, I think is what I was saying.
Sorry, if you don't mind just coming in. I think, as I say, one of the slight issues we've got here is that obviously there aren't any restrictions at the moment, as stated. They do use this, that's where the complaints and the objections are born from. The canopy isn't there, but the site is being used at the moment. And obviously we have no restriction. Whether there's a licensing issue and whether there is a concern there that may need to be investigated by a licensing department, I don't know. But from a planning point of view, obviously there's no restrictions in terms of amplification outside, so there's nothing we would be able to do about that at the present time.
Councillor Helen Cone?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I actually don't agree with that. I think that there is a limit to the decibel that they can actually be broadcasting. I'm sure that is a planning issue or a condition that we have to, I agree with Councillor Sartin that we have done before.
Oh no, absolutely. It is. There are, we do condition these types of things, as Councillor Sartin pointed out. Certainly with restaurants and whatnot, we often put quite restrictive conditions about when the doors have to be closed, when the amplification can accompany. All I'm saying is, at the moment, there is obviously this amplification, there's obviously this outdoor usage, and there are no controls, there are no restrictions. We don't have any planning conditions, so we don't have any control over that. Yeah, so that's the issue we've got.
Sorry, could we put a condition for a specific amount of decibels or not?
Yes is the easy answer. Theoretically, yes, the canopy would enable a more intensive use of this part of the site, and if members feel that that could lead to greater impact from, potential amplified noise, then we could put a condition on restricting that. Obviously, if the applicant decides not to install the canopy or to do any, the slight issue is that the restriction may only benefit that part of the site under the canopy. So if there was any fitness done outside of the canopy, we may not be able to control it. So it's a little bit of a complicated one, but the very simple answer is yes, we could put a condition on, and the rest we can sort out from an enforcement point of view, I think.
Yeah, in that case, I think it will be a reassurance to the people that live in the surrounding area if we actually put a condition. Now, I don't know how to do that, but what.
Yeah, absolutely, we can do that. I mean, the obvious, there's almost two ways I would suggest we could condition. One would be, both have been touched on. One would be in terms of operating hours for any or the hours of any amplification, so we could restrict those hours, or we could do a decibel rating. The standard is kind of 35 decibels from the closest sensitive neighbour, so it'd be sort of the back edge of the closest residential property. You'd have to measure the 35 decibels. So obviously it's up to yourselves which way you'd want to go with that, but those are the kind of two most standard conditions.
Sorry, Councillor Sartin?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I was also going to look at the fact of changing the hours at which, not the hours for using the outside area, but the hours at which amplified music. Because if it was a building site with properties roundabout, we'd be restricting the starting hours in the morning. 8 a.m. is what they've put in as a Sunday operating hour. If we were to put in a condition that no amplified music in the outside area from 8 a.m. any day of the week, could we also use the decibel condition as well there?
microphone on. Yes, we could theoretically put both those conditions on. I'm just having a quick look. Sorry, I'm reminding myself of the hours. Because obviously, if you say 8 a.m. Oh yeah, no, 8 a.m. would work because sorry, I wasn't sure. I was just checking the hours. So from 8 a.m. and then would we put an end time to that? Because otherwise it could technically run all the way through to 7:59 the next day.
Councillor Sartin, microphone. Sorry, Graham. Graham.
Oh,
That explains it. I mean, the operating hours that they've got in are up until 9 p.m. Mondays to Fridays, with 12 noon Saturdays, 11 a.m. Sundays, is how I was reading it. Is that right? So that would fit with putting that condition onto those hours, within those hours.
so just because I can clarify, so you'd be suggesting no amplification between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. Monday to Friday? No? Yeah, sorry. So none. So they can have amplification between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. till 12 noon Saturday, and 8 a.m. till 11 a.m. Sundays and bank holidays.
Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd just be interested to know, it's been going for 4 years, so they've obviously been using music, doing it, without the canopy. Is it possible to find out if there's been any complaints? And is it possible to ask of the lady?
That'd be down to the chairman as to whether you want to ask I assume you're talking about asking the applicant.
I can ask the speaker. Did you catch that at all? That have you actually received any noise complaints in the 4 years that you've been operating?
Yeah, so we've only actually been there at that field station. We've got 2 gyms, one in Epping, one in Waltham Abbey. That one we've been there for a year and a half. So we have had the neighbours over the other side there, the one that you've identified on the planning. Those neighbours have spoken to us and said that they were concerned about the noise early, and so we now don't put our amplifier outside at that time. It turns the other way and it faces inside the gym, so we have stopped that completely. Our coach as well has got quite a loud kind of motivating voice, so we've asked her to kind of tone her volume down as well. So every time that we have, not every time, it's only happened a couple of times when the public have said to us, we've addressed it straight away, we've spoken to them, and our members' average age is about 45, so it's not loud pumping thumping music, it's light motivational music to help our members exercise. This isn't a young gym for young people. This is a gym for ladies that don't like going to a gym, and so the music is of our kind of standard of music, if you know what I mean. It's not loud thumping clubbing music.
Thank you very kindly. Thank you very kindly for your very comprehensive answer. Does that answer the majority of the questions as to regards to complaints? Yes?
Yeah,
Yes,
I just, as a ward councillor, I have received numerous comments on this, and that's why I really want to make sure that that we don't have any more of those comments, to avoid that.
I am aware that under the planning policy framework, noise is a consideration for a planning committee, whereas the antisocial behaviour is not. So that's that bit out. Councillor Sartin?
No, just having listened to the applicant, would it be sufficient from what we've just heard, it doesn't sound as if they're currently having any amplified music directed outside. Could we just condition it that there should be no outside amplified music?
That's up to members. That's up to whichever condition you wish to put forward for a vote.
Councillor Samkane?
Yeah, thank you very much. We have to remember that we also have a duty to support small businesses, which this would be doing, would be helping the small business, but we also have to listen to our residents where they've got concerns, and there does appear to be quite a number of concerns about the noise level, particularly early in the morning. So I think if we're going to rely on enforcement to keep this under control, as it were, then we do have to have those decibel levels clear so that we know what we're measuring against, rather than a subjective too loud, too quiet. We do need that measurement. I don't think there's a need to prohibit the broadcasts throughout the day, but I think the later start time will be of great assistance to those residents who do have a concern, and the specified noise level will enable us to measure properly and enforce where required.
Do we have a figure as to what decibel level constitutes a nuisance?
It's usually 35 decibels. I can double check, but I'm fairly confident it's normally 35 decibels.
So would we be happy adding the condition that it's 35 decibels at the boundary and that amplified music is within the hours as specified by Councillor Sarti? Sorry? Can we take a vote on that, a show of hands, that's the condition that we wish to attach, which is that, yep. Thank you.
Agreed, 7-4.
Thank you. Right, so the recommendation is to grant permission with conditions and the amended conditions. So can we have a vote on that? Agreed. Thank you. Thank you. So moving on to finally got paper. It's going to be item. It's all conservative. Right, item 10. No, it's not. It's item 11, which is planning application EPF 1529/21, which is number 8, the Magpies, Epping Upland, Epping CM16 6QG, which is on pages 35 to 40 of the agenda. Mr. Courtney, please.
Thank you, Chairman. So this item relates to a part 2-storey, part single-storey rear extension at number 8, the Magpies. This is before members due to an objection from the Parish Council and from a neighbour that backs onto the side boundary of the site. These, yeah. The application is recommended for approval, subject to conditions. So the application site is an end of terrace property within the settlement of Epping Green. It benefits from an attached garage that separates the dwelling from the rear gardens of numbers 3 to 7, which are these properties here. These sit at a right angle to the site and back on to this side boundary. The objection received is from number 4, the Magpies, which is directly adjacent to the proposed extension, so I believe it's this one here. The site benefits from a large single-storey conservatory at present, which would be replaced by the proposed extensions. This photograph here shows the rear of the attached garage that immediately adjoins the side boundary. These are some existing floor plans. So as you can see, the existing conservatory here, it measures approximately 3.5 metres in depth and is built quite close to the, in close proximity to the shared boundary with number 9, the Magpies here. This is the existing elevations of the property. So the proposed new extensions would be a mix of single-storey and 2-storey rear additions. Immediately behind the garage would be a single-storey addition. A similar sized single-storey addition would also abut the shared boundary with number 9, the Magpies. And the central part here would be a 2-storey extension. This element would be stepped in approximately 2.5 metres from each side boundary and reaches a depth of 3.5 metres. There's the proposed elevations. So given this stepping back of the first floor element and its acceptable depth. It's not considered that there would be any harm to the neighbours as a result of a loss of outlook or light or outlook. There are no flank windows proposed, so no additional overlooking. Concerns have been raised by the neighbour regarding the loss of the view. However, this is not a material planning consideration since there is no right to a view. No neighbours, including number 4, who have objected, have raised any concerns about the single-storey elements, which, given their modest scale, would not be considered harmful. Visually, the proposal is considered to be acceptable. It's not felt to constitute an overdevelopment of the site. Concerns were raised by the parish council about the loss of a birch tree. However, the council's tree and landscape officer considers this to be a poor specimen and has no objection to its removal. As such, the proposal is considered to be acceptable by plan officers and is therefore recommended for approval, subject to conditions. Back to you, Chairman.
Thank you. Members? There seems to be no sign of anything. So, was it Councillor Sartin?
Sorry, Chairman, it's not a comment on the application per se, but it's one that we bring up quite frequently, which is there are no hours of work included in the conditions, and on the basis that this is very much a residential area, and I'm trying desperately to think what hours we usually put in these circumstances. Councillor Bassett, can you remember? 8 a.m. rings a bell.
8 till 6.
Sorry, there are standard hours, I know, but we usually move it a bit later into the morning because we feel that whatever the standard hours are too early in this sort of, as I say, residential area.
Okay, yes, so I was obviously going to say that we have a standard condition, but you've clarified that you like to amend that. So do we know what the hours are, so I can make a note? Otherwise, are you happy for me to go back and check what the West standard condition is and to use that? Yeah, that might be easy. Either that or I'll speak to Jerry when he gets back next week.
Okay, then, members. So the recommendation is to grant permission with conditions plus the additional condition. Agree? Thank you. I've just remembered as well, I forgot to introduce myself, but not tomorrow. Exclusion of public and press? No. So, that being the case, I close this meeting at 19:33.